About the ridiculous idea that because we live in a democracy, we live in a free country. And it's entitled Big Brother. You see, all puppet masters need puppets to play with. I'm dazed and amazed at how easy we've made it. We didn't check the rules of the game before we played it. Didn't even look at the price before we paid it. Didn't taste the flavour of freedom before it faded and the spin doctor stated the earth exists for big business to raid it. To statutory rape it. It's not complicated. First comes deception, misdirection, disinformation, then we're stripped butt naked. Offered short-term gains for long-term loss and we trade it. There goes our children's birthright. We betrayed it. We should have waited. Now we're fucked, plucked, sucked, vacuum wrapped and best before dated. And Big Brother's elated, fully satiated on plates full of human suffering. Yet another life wasted, running the rat race until life itself is hated. The average human mind lies fallow, vacated, empty of all independent thought and fated to perpetuate the hatred created by the state and its XXX rated mate, the mass media feeding you the bait which you take, not realising it's fake, thinking it fact, not seeing the act, acting out of lack, forgetting the message is actually whack. I ain't kidding. I'm serious as a heart attack. And in fact, the only act that could get us back on track would be to take a whole new tack, to hijack the current belief system, turning it front to back, just like that. And to counteract unconsciousness, I recommend we sack all governments and install freedom instead, before we all end up dead, along with the earth, our mother, at the hands of our so-called protector, Big Brother. In nature, on Earth, there are two timing frequencies which one can tune into. There's the normal timing frequency of the 12-month Gregorian calendar and the 60-minute clock. And there's the natural, solar, galactic frequency of the 1320, 13-moon calendar of the Mayans. Here's a poem about that, and it's called the dream spell frequency. See, when I connect to spirit, I connect through the radial matrix, which makes this universe synchronistic and gives everything in it physical existence. Take this lyricist, for instance. It's the radial matrix which makes me tick, and it's my unconditional love of spirit which makes me a mystic. Now that may seem unrealistic, and you may wish to list the statistics of the schizophrenic dipsticks who went ballistic, insisting they'd been enlisted into the mystical order of the local district. They got real twisted and got prophetically apocalyptic. Despite this, I decided to risk it, because when it comes to self-existing, I take the biscuit. See, I just have to make a wish, and I can take a telepathic trip to the isthmus. So all you skeptics of the Mayan calendrics can just kiss this, because it's implicit in this spiritual business that I bliss this. Can I get a witness, just in case you missed this? Lyrical mystics, lyrical fitness, and think you can diss this? I'm the Pythagoras of rhyme artists. Who do you think's the hardest? My rhymes climb the farthest, my lyrics cut the sharpest. I'm one of the smartest bastards ever cast into the darkness. If paradox is the grim reaper, then Babylon's the harvest. I don't care if it's a slugfest, rhyme test, or your next festival. I harness spiritual zest more precious than your left testicles. Special agent of karmic effect, leaving the Gregorian bereft in the vestibule. Full power messenger, Babylon damager. I give it to him straight. Fuck the Pope's calendar. Just because I haven't got a manager, you think me an amateur, like I could care less. The more you doubt me, the more power I possess, because I practice fearlessness. Haven't you guessed? I'm blessed. My light radiates north, south, east, and west, because I pass the test. I go where spirit moves me, and I know spirit knows best, but I don't think I'm better than the rest. Spirit moves in everyone, and we're all here as her guests, and I see S's on all of your chests. The only problem is, you don't. You don't identify with the matriarchal matrix of infinite unity. You identify with the same thing that used to limit me. Your fixation with your logical, rational, masculine mind keeps you half blind. It's what makes you only human. As soon as you surrender to your magical, mythical, feminine mind, your supraconscious divinity starts blooming. Use the 13 moons to set loose the magical juice. You'll get a boost in a deuce, and your higher self will rule the roost. Soul-driven living. That means no clinging and no anxious hand-wringing. No more death fear. Maximum self-trust. Have you got the guts? Because Western civilization's about to go bust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Mother Nature's had enough of Babylon's lust, and she's about to squeeze out the pus. So don't miss the bus. The 13 moons is the path of the good karma, the final dispensation of Allah, the second coming, and the Buddha Dharma. So align with the natural time, before the big clock in the sky chimes and signs the end of the timeline of the blind. Because there is still time to find peace on earth and peace of mind. Just stop living the daily grind of artificial time and tune into the dream spell frequency of rhythm and rhyme. The 28-day moon cycle rhythm of the goddess. Yes, bless. And the 13 moon wave spell rhyme of the Earth's solar orbit. Just try it for a bit. See if it fits. See if your life gets more synchronistic. See if you become a mystic. See if you become telepathic, unstressed, full of zest, highly blessed and ecstatic. See if it increases your brain function so you can put more stuff on automatic. See if you get artistically expanded, multi-talented and galactic. God damn it. What have you got to lose? Is your life perfect? Well, mine is, but I have to work for it. I have to consciously evolve my perceptions and worldview. And that's a very, very hard thing to do. It really challenges you. But now that I do, I can see what spirit is up to. And I understand the process we have to go through as we move from the old to the new, from technology to telepathy. No more rulers and no more rules. No more planet of the fools. From artificial to real in 13 moons. From war to peace in 13 moons. So there's no need to lose the plot as Babylon's false clock finally stops. Just tune into the dream spell frequency. Trust me, it rocks.
And you can flash.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that fits in it. Oh no, sorry. Okay. Here's a poem about karma, and it's called What Goes Around Comes Around. You see, I wrote this for you to notice that as the poor get sick and the rich get rich on tick, the killer get rich quick, clique, will eventually seek forgiveness, and the meek shall inherit the earth's riches. So my wish is to see the glitches in the matrix, because we're gonna break it. So I flip a light switch, and in the blink of an eye twitch, I hitch a ride with the one vibe which brings an end to kingship. The vibration of oneness, no more Babylon, no more capitalists. How you like me now, bitch? You see, a stitch in time saves 9, and this sublime rhyme transcends linear timelines and obsolete paradigms. It climbs and climbs until it finds the signs which bind the mind, and consciousness is realigned. See, you feel just fine, just like fine wine. But to say that was my rhyme would be a lie and a crime, because it's not really mine, it's divine. So I can take my time. I can make haste slowly. Strangely, that's the only way to be one with the one and only. You know me. Paradoxically, I like to be perceived as a cheeky little monkey, lyrically funky, subversively reversing the perverse mythology of superiority, perched precariously on the illusion of disunity, confused with reality by the bulk of humanity. And that's why Babylon fears me. Yes, my verse can be very terse, but what's worse, I have a thirst to nurse my third eye search, and I do first-class research, and that hurts, because I can avoid the curse of having my bubble burst by lack of awareness. But in fairness, it took 35 years for me to manifest clarity, a black hole, singularity, beyond space-time locality. And I can see clearly now the rain has gone, that we are all one, and that karma means action, What the one does to the one, whatsoever you do to another is automatically done to you. It's the golden rule, and it's all we need to get through. Because you wouldn't hurt another if you knew the other was you, would you? You'd be a fool to. True? So don't be a fool. Remember the golden rule. What goes around, comes around. So whatever you do, you're doing it to you.
Because I
and outfox any blind spots or Babylonian plots to put a pox on the lost boys and girls all over this world of illusion, using phonetic without causing confusion. Illumined by cosmic light, we take flight beyond wrong and right, and we just might put an end to the fight between man and woman, black and white. My right is right, my word is right. Bright blue dawn and the brand new morning. No more snoring, no more warring, no more whoring. According to cosmic law in 2012, we'll remember our true selves as into the darkness we delve, because that's where the light dwells. As we shelve our self-created hells, our magical elven selves will no longer need to rebel, so they'll revel in the removal of the devil and his teaching, reaching each in its own way. The one that says, you are inferior to some and superior to others. No fucking way, sisters and brothers. That divinity shrinking, Babylonian tinkering with your thinking is linking you to their ship and their ship sinking. Because their beliefs are self-defeating, and like sheep we keep repeating and have the cheek to keep fleeting. Please listen, we need a new belief system if we want to continue existing. Yes, I'm insisting. Stop resisting. I'm undoing your conditioning. I'm a wishing well. Can't you tell? I wish you well. I was there when we fell into this hellhole, and as the bell tolls for those whose goals are not about how their soul grows, I'll be with you still, right up until the fifth dimensional lifting heals the rift in our dysfunctional thinking, and with clarified perception, we'll see the blessing inherent in earthbound living, and so forgiving ourselves and others will release our sisters and brothers, and we'll all become one lovers, and so lift the covers of illusion for every single human, because singing in unison is our mission, and learning to love without conditions our lesson. Game, set and match to the warriors of love. One love, love one, detox done. Hope it was fun.
Yeah, whenever you want.
I might have to have a warm-up. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. You just have to see through the illusion, or you'll rue your delusion. In your confusion, you've been deluded into living in a prison of your own choosing. Do you find it amusing to be fed doo-doo on the nightly news, made to crave Gucci shoes, while ignoring the real issue, the extraordinarily disproportionate concentration of wealth in the hands of a few? Tutus, you want to cruise the new venues and have a few brews, while the third world sings the blues and reptiles abuse humans. Over 1,000 children starving to death every hour for the want of some food. Pardon me for being rude, but while you choose to snooze, our rulers amuse themselves, puppeteering human conflict and directing the daily drama, turning you into a fallacious farmer, sowing unconsciousness and expecting to reap good karma. You think the Dalai Lama can't see farther than that? It's time to clean up your act. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. Do you want to know what it is? The matrix is all around you. It confounds you and astounds you. Its evil genius is bound to arouse the sound of women crying and babies dying. So pay close attention, because I ain't lying. Neo, I'm counting on you. And the countdown started. Rotted. You catch on fast, kid. It seems you get my meaning. It seems you're feeling me. Because I'm appealing to the divine in you. The sublime spark of light in you. Shining through every single sinew within you. The part of you that really wants to take the red pill and not the blue. So, Neo, time to be a hero. Right, okay. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. You just have to see through the illusion, or you'll rue your delusion. In your confusion, you've been deluded into living in a prison of your own choosing. Do you find it amusing to be fed doo-doo on the nightly news, made to crave Gucci shoes while ignoring the real issue? The extraordinarily disproportionate concentration of wealth in the hands of a few. 2 twos, you want to cruise the new venues and have a few brews, while the third world sings the blues and reptiles abuse humans. Over 1,000 children starving to death every hour for the want of some food. Pardon me for being rude, but while you choose to snooze, our rulers amuse themselves, puppeteering human conflict and directing the daily drama, turning you into a fallacious farmer, sowing unconsciousness and expecting to reap good karma. You think the Dalai Lama can't see farther than that? It's time to clean up your act. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is all around you. It confounds you and astounds you. Its evil genius is bound to arouse the sound of women crying and babies dying. So pay close attention, because I ain't lying. Neo, I'm counting on you. And the countdown started. Rotted. You catch on fast, kid. It seems you get my meaning. It seems you're feeling me, because I'm appealing to the divine in you, the sublime spark of light in you, shining through every single sinew within you. The part of you that really wants to take the red pill and not the blue. So, Neo, choose. Remember, I only offer you the truth, and we both know the truth can hurt, and worse still, you can't go back to your sleepwalking slumber, your imaginary life 6 foot under. Because once you're in Wonderland, no man can put asunder. So, Neo, time to be a hero. And there goes the red pill. You chose wisely, bro. So don't worry if the room starts spinning. That's just the beginning. The red pill disrupts your input-output carrier signals, and we found that confusion often abounds around about the time you hit ground zero. So hold tight, Neo. Here we go. Well, hello. Welcome to the real world, Neo. Ah, yes. Your eyes hurt because you never used them before, and your throat sore because you've been forced to snore for 20 years or more. But you're awake now, my son, and there's much work to be done. Because, Neo, you're the one. And no, you won't need a gun. Forget dodging bullets, I'm telling you. When you're ready, you won't have to. Now, the first thing we have to do is to clue you into the coup. Because Jesus Christ Almighty God, have you been lied to? I did try to warn you, and now it's slowly dawning on you that the Matrix ensures the enslavement of the many by the few. It's nothing new. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. You don't think that's a coincidence, do you? That's the Matrix for you. Stare it right in the face and still you ignore it. Here in the real world's where I first saw it. I abhor it. What is it they call it? Free market economics? There ought to be a law against it. It's bullshit. The bastard brainchild of the 227 world-controlling bankers. Fucking wankers. People think we're crazy, but one day they'll thank us. You see, how can a market be free when members of the same family, the same ancient conspiracy, get to print our money, lend it to our governments, and charge us a usury? It's an unusually cunning plan, this money for old rope. Bankers getting richer while whole countries go broke. Entire populations held in a chokehold of poverty. Reduced to criminality, getting used to rat race banality, and paying taxes. So governments can pay back this axis of evil through their tactical patsies. The Bank of England, the Federal Reserve Bank, and the Bank of International Settlements in Geneva, see? All privately owned companies. The directors of which are so rich they're richer than most countries. And make Bill Gates look like a country bumpkin. You see, for some, money does grow on trees, and you've been convinced otherwise with surprising ease. You've been brought to your knees, like these people here, bleeding to death for the want of proper health care and struggling to survive on welfare. We're going to get them the hell out of there before what happened in Argentina happens everywhere. And here's the plan. We're using poetry to tell every man, woman and child across the land that our destiny's in our own hands. And all we have to do is take a stand. And here's how. Withdraw all your money from the banks. Stop using the banks. Buy all your consumer durables second hand. Buy everything else from markets, family businesses and charity shops only. Stop watching television news. Stop reading newspapers too. And if you work for a publicly quoted company, leave your job immediately. And finally, demand that the bankers give back the wealth they've robbed from humanity. Too much to ask of you? Too much for you to do? Go back to sleep then. The Matrix has you.
Wow.
On duppy detection, we increase perception to combat deception. In our profession, all falsity gets broken like balsa wood. Would I recommend consciousness? Of course I would. The source of all life can, of course, be ignorance. I myself used to persist in the bliss of ignorance. Then I got bored. Yeah, I toured, home and abroad. Big shot MD, fat cat salary, Alfa Romeo V6 180 bhp. Then TikTok. I heard my alarm clock. Woke up to find I was sucking Satan's cock. Just another whore at the capitalist gangbang. Bling bling, bang bang, you're dead. That's what my soul said. As it occurred to me to put an end to the material ambitions of my false identity. Here now in the 21st century, I stand as sentry against fallacy. My poetry essential and highly influential in making the operation more or less successful. Less is more when it comes to attachment. And in fact, our warrior detachment can and does affect that designer label catchment. Champagne, lap dance, laptop ravers with self-destructive behaviour. They want to stop it, but they can't. They need an attitude transplant. Hopelessly entranced by the highly advanced matrix. We're on a mission to break it. We see a chance, we take it. If I'm not mistaken, it's time to awaken and smell the bacon and eggs. Because our planet's on its last legs. And our legacy of lethargy means our species has to be free from commercial greed and the need to act like gangsters, talk like gangsters, walk like gangsters. In fact, the need to flash cash is thanks to the Babylonian vulture, Western civilization, dysfunctional baby culture, dumbing down the world about you, giving our youth no future, super duper. Now then, let me tell you again, sly guy die by the sword, that's why we live by the pen. And when we see Babylon henchmen coming from the fourth dimension, it's essential we get them. When we catch vampire,
I fire, we have set them. Next them reptiles, we have checked them. How many people own half the world's wealth? 227. It took them alien spacemen 6,000 years to blend in by bending the truth, then sending the devil's doctrine to all God's children. And now they're pretending their world ain't ending. Their world of banking, borrowing and lending, attempting to fend off freedom, pending the pole shift, rendering them and their kingdom ending. Because them man them couldn't pay attention to the ascension into heaven of all my brethren. So me I let them follow them agenda, put my faith in karma, return to sender. Babylon thinks it can avoid obliteration. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. You see, every cause has an effect, and we're here to protect the meek from the consequences of the mental fences erected at the expense of human evolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be commercialized. The revolution will not be commoditized. No more teenage suicides, because warrior poets can't abide lies told to children, so we filter them through third eyes, using God-given intuition. No more indoctrination masquerading as education. No more propaganda disguised as information on your TV station. Our kids will use their imagination, consciousness across the nation, because elevation's coming and the beast is running, but it can't escape destiny. The test is to be blessed, you see. That's my testimony, to bring liberty and equality to all those possessed by the ideology of superiority, by the authority vested in me, by the prophet Robert Nesta Marley, and the eternal truth of unity. Get me? Yeah! When I connect to spirit, I connect through the radial matrix, which makes this universe synchronistic and gives everything in it physical existence. Take this lyricist for instance. It's the radial matrix which makes me tick, and it's my unconditional love of spirit which makes me a mystic. Now that may seem unrealistic, and you may wish to list the statistics of the schizophrenic dipsticks who went ballistic, insisting they've been enlisted into the mystical order of the local district, then got real twisted and got prophetically apocalyptic. Despite this, I've decided to risk it, because when it comes to self-existing, I take the biscuit. See, I just have to make a wish, and I can take a telepathic trip to the isness. So all you skeptics of the Mayan calendrics can just kiss this, because it's implicit in this spiritual business that I bliss this. Can I get a witness? Just in case you missed this, lyrical mystics, lyrical fitness, and think you can diss this? I'm the Pythagoras of rhyme artists. Who do you think's the hardest? My rhymes climb the farthest. My lyrics cut the sharpest. I'm one of the smartest bastards ever cast into the darkness. If Paradox was the Grim Reaper, then Babylon's the harvest. I don't care if it's a slugfest, a rhyme test, or your next festival. I harness spiritual zest more precious than your left testicle. Specializing in a karmic effect, leaving the Gregorian bereft at the vestibule. Full power messenger, Babylon damager. I give it to them straight. Fuck the Pope's calendar. Just because you haven't got a manager, you think me an amateur, like I could care less. The more you doubt me, the more power I possess. Because I practice fearlessness. Haven't you guessed? I'm blessed. My light radiates north, south, east and west. Because I pass the test. I go where spirit moves me and I know spirit knows best. But I don't think I'm better than the rest. Spirit lives in everyone, we're all here as her guests. And I see S's on all of your chests. The only problem is, you don't identify with the matriarchal matrix of infinite unity. You identify with the same thing that used to limit me. It's your fixation with your logical, rational, masculine mind that keeps you half blind. That's what makes you only human. As soon as you surrender to your magical, mythical, feminine mind, your superconscious divinity starts blooming. You can use the 13 moons to set loose the magical juice. You get a boost in the deuce, and your higher self will rule the roost. Soul-driven living, that means no clinging, and no anxious hand-wringing. No more death fear, maximum self-trust. Have you got the guts? Because Western civilization's about to go bust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Because Mother Nature's had enough of Babylon's lust. And she's about to squeeze out the pus. So don't miss the bus. The 13 moons is the path of the good karma. The final dispensation of Allah, the second coming and the Buddha Dharma. So align with the natural time. Before the big clock in the sky chimes and signs the end of the timeline of the blind. Because there is still time to find peace on earth and peace of mind. Just stop living the daily grind of artificial time and tune into the dream spell of rhythm and rhyme. The 28-day moon cycle of the goddess. Yes, bless. And the 13 moon rhyme wave spell of the earth's solar orbit. Just try it for a bit. See if it fits. See if your life gets more synchronistic. See if you become a mystic. See if you become telepathic, unstressed, full of zest, highly blessed and ecstatic. See if it increases your brain function so you can put more stuff on automatic. See if you get artistically expanded, multi-talented and galactic. God damn it, what have you got to lose? Is your life perfect? Mine is, but I have to work for it. I have to consciously evolve my perceptions and worldview. And that's a very, very hard thing to do. It really challenges you. But now that I do, I can see what spirit is up to. And I understand the process we have to go through as we move from the old to the new, from technology to telepathy. No more rulers, no more rules, no more planet of the fools. From artificial to real in 13 moves. From war to peace in 13 moves. So there's no need to lose the plot as Babylon's false clock finally stops. Tune into the dream spell frequency. Trust me, it rocks. We have some other poets here this evening. Okay.
You said you have 40. Yesterday you said you have 40.
Yeah, that's true. Someone had to remember. Yes. Not to be. Come rain, come sun, come old, come young, divine will be done. You can't stop this prodigal son. I'm having way too much fun with my lyrical stun gun, my satirical word drum, like Attila the Hun, the stunning tongue one keeps running, I keep gunning, though rhymes keep coming, phonetically I'm cunning to avoid your brain numbing. I'm on top of the plot, but if what I've got doesn't drop, I'm not just gonna clock off. Can't unlock the block in your consciousness, so I won't just give up. I'll rip up the rule book and cook up a new hook. I'll look in every nook and cranny to help the many listen to my spoken word expedition, wordsmith exhibition, poetic exposition, a thermonuclear incision into the current belief system, vaporizing human conditioning, disrupting, deconstructing and interrupting, residual, habitual, subconscious reaction, taking effective action at the level of cause, simply because in actuality, thought creates reality. So metaphysically speaking, to change our world, we need to change our thinking. It's so blinking obvious that our unconsciousness creates this facsimile of freedom called Western civilization, an oxymoron and abomination where mankind denies responsibility for its own creation. Clearly our cultural dysfunctions are the reflections resulting from faulty mental constructions, e.g. survival of the fittest. So as millions of wage slaves toil, a few hundred victims take all the spoils, e.g. might makes right. So we sleepwalk right through the long dark night of rule through fear, creating a living nightmare for millions of people out there. That's why I'm clear, the end is near. Because
Because our primitive cultural mythology, based on superiority, has completely destroyed equality. And our singular lack of humility, our blindly arrogant certainty that our way is the right way and the better way has brought us to the end of days. And I'm amazed so few can see that we have to give up our dysfunctional beliefs completely in order to escape the matrix, to take this chance to break it, to create this new world we've envisaged, becoming conscious and traversing the quantum dimensional passage, ascending with the body to a higher optic. So while the toxic thought forms we force the earth to absorb are transformed by cosmic light as Babylon falls, those who've heeded the calls of the mystics, the calls of spirit, to get with it, to get with the isness and get set to do the business. Those who open their minds and hearts will be the first to bask in the only joy that truly lasts, the lasting bliss of fifth dimensional existence. And yes, my insistence upon this is influenced by its imminence. For instance, this particular vibratory plane of reality has a remarkable capacity for perpetual ecstasy. Because in 5D, every atom inside me lives in harmony with those outside me. So I can see the luminous beauty of divinity all around me. Wow, we can create our own heavenly reality by freeing our minds and raising our frequency. Just choose to see unity by seeing